how to edit for word repetition and other things, and how to use the Control F function, which is something you will love. As we begin this lesson, we're going to talk first about to be verbs. If you have studied a Latin-based language, you've probably already seen the conjugation chart and you understand what an infinitive is. An infinitive is a non-conjugated verb. This is an infinitive right here. This is the first row of the conjugation table, and it is for first person. The second row is second person, and the third row is third person. We have two columns. The column on the left, everything is singular, so all of these are singular structures. And on this side, everything is plural, so all of these items are plural. When we take a look at the conjugation, I am is first person singular, you are is second person singular, he is, she is, it is. All of these structures are third person singular. We are is first person plural. They are is third person plural. We also have past tense in the conjugation table. I was, you were, he, she, it was, we were, they were. These are the to be verbs, am, are, is, was, were. These words I suggest that people not use when they are writing formal or serious essays. Here's an example of a sentence using a to be verb. She is happy to go to the store. Could be improved simply by getting rid of the to be verb. She happily goes to the store. It's still kind of a silly little sentence, but it is improved nonetheless. All right, let's take a look at a paragraph that could use a little editing. If I am interested to know how much or how many times I have used a particular word, I'm going to hold down Control and depress F simultaneously. Now, in this particular example, I already have I in the navigation bar, so all of these uses of I turned up, and they are mostly in this section. When you're writing a formal essay, you should probably not use informal pronouns, which would be the first and second person pronouns. We should also not overuse any pronouns. If I'm looking for how many times I've used the word is, and I type in the word is in the search bar here, I am going to get things highlighted like list and this, because the word is part of this word. So in order to get just is, I'm going to add a space before is and a space after is, and then I will get just the three ises that I have in this paragraph here. If you are interested in how many times you've used a specific word, like here I have family, and I have families, and then again here I have family, what you can do is put in the search bar the word family. As you notice, I have only two uses, so this word here didn't show up. If you want to make sure you have every form of the word, you could put just famil in there, and then these three show up. If you're interested in getting rid of contractions, you can put an apostrophe in the navigation bar, and then all of the apostrophes you have in your paper will show up. Then it's up to you to decide whether something is plural, or whether it is possessive, or whether it is a contraction. So here we have parents, and this should be plural possessive, so the apostrophe should be on the other side of the S. If you're looking to see if you have an extra space, perhaps, between sentences, most people nowadays have one space after a period that ends a sentence. And if you use two spaces after a period that ends a sentence consistently, it's probably not a problem. You'll have to ask your professor. But if you hit the space bar 2 times, then your paper will get examined for those kinds of problems, And here we can get rid of that extra space there and the extra space here. As we're moving through this process and checking to see how many words we have overused, we can check all kinds of different words. For example, if you're doing a paper about To Kill a Mockingbird and you want to check how many times you've used the word scout, or the name rather, scout, in your paper, then you could put scout in your Control F box. Here I've already charted it out. I have 9 uses of I, 10 uses of my, 3 yous, 9 she's, 3 hers. I've got 1 am, 3 is's, 1 are, 4 was's. I have 1 use of really. Really, a lot, and very are extremely childish words. We should try to avoid them. And you can also check on contractions and extra spaces and other issues that you might have in your paper. All right, so let's take a look at how we might edit this. I have your family members should always be the top person on the list of people you check up on. So I've got you and your, and I really want to get rid of all of that. So let me start with your family. So I'm going to get rid of your and capitalize family. So family members, I don't know why there's an apostrophe there, should always be the top person. Now I've got members and persons, so I have an agreement of number problem. So family members should always be checked up on. Now I got rid of that extra U as well. We have yes, families often live together under one roof and always tend to know what is going on in each other's life. So I've got families again, family and families. I've got is here. So let's make this a little less busy and we'll say people living together. We don't have to say under one roof. People living together tend to know each other's life. Then we have, however, that is not always the case. Then we have my family, for example, are always together, but we tend to hide things. So I have an is here. Let me get rid of that is. So people living together tend to know each other's life, but not always. My family, for example, are always together, but we tend to hide things. So we could say, my family tends to be secretive. And we can get rid of a lot of that. I don't like the word things as well. I have my mother took a CPA exam that mainly deals with finance. The first time she did not pass, then the second and third trial came and she did not pass. I might say that she failed 3 times before passing with a borderline grade. So we're also getting rid of some repetition there. When my mother received the results for the second and third exam, okay, after receiving the results, or just results, for the second and third exam. She did not tell my father nor I. She kept this information a secret or quiet Let's see, she hid the results of her exam because she was ashamed of herself. Okay, so she kept this information quiet out of shame. Not wanting to let her loved ones down. But as her daughter, I know when something is wrong. So I've got is here, I've got I, her again, but a daughter often recognizes stress. And we can get rid of all of that. The day she received her results, I could clearly tell she was hiding something, that she was trying extremely hard to act tough and pretend like everything was okay. So maybe, but a daughter often recognizes false bravado, which means faking your bravery. So then we can get rid of this I, we can get rid of another use of she, we can get rid of was, we can get rid of thing, another use of she, another use of was, trying extremely hard to act tough and pretend like everything, here's another was, okay. After a day had passed, I asked, get rid of this, I asked her, or I asked my mom, are you okay? What's wrong? Not only does my mother hide things, but I do too. I always do and have been since middle school. Okay, at this point, I think we have another topic. So I would move this down to a new indent, and here I would tell the student to develop this further. So I would ask, what happened? What happened next? I would want to know that. Okay, so then in the next paragraph I have, not only does my mother hide things, but I do too. I always do and have been since middle school. Not only does my mother hide things, but I do too, and have since middle school. So I got rid of one of the I's there. I hid the things I dealt with at school, drama with friends, and especially relationships. Okay, so I have, not only does my mother hide things, but I do too, and have since middle school. I don't want to say hide and then hid. I kept silent about social struggles or challenges think I already used struggle somewhere. And I don't need all of that because that's saying the same thing. In my parents' eyes, and notice now I have parents as a plural possessive because it's both of them. In my parents' eyes, I am a bright, independent, hardworking daughter. And I might say person, so I don't say daughter another time. And so with my parents having that perspective of me, I never opened up about my problems. However, that started to change this year. So I could combine these sentences. In my parents' eyes, I am a bright, independent, hardworking person. So revealing a deficit seemed too difficult. I never opened up about my problems. However, that started to change this year. Okay, I don't need this. I can get rid of another I and another my because that's redundant according to the previous sentence. All right, as you notice, besides this right here, which is me giving a suggestion, besides this, that really long single paragraph became two much smaller ones. Usually when we edit, unless we're adding additional information, we make things much smaller. As you are moving through practice with the Control F function, please be aware of these words that you should try to get rid of, and also be cognizant of words that you tend to use. If you tend to start sentences frequently with nevertheless, put that in the Control F box and see how many times you've used it. If that conjunctive adverb tends to be your go-to adverb, do some research and find some other options. I hope this was helpful to you. Thank you for viewing.